podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me from inside a Sega Genesis, it's your co-host, Nick Richardson.
Damn, throwback. It's sparse in here. There's very few chips, as I like to refer to them.
You got 32-bit in there, man.
It's 32-bit more than I had last generation.
Well, it's 16-bit more than you had last generation.
Don't sass me, Calvin.
I can explain to you about bits and bytes and whatnot, but that's not what we're here for. You're in the Sega Genesis. We're here to give out movie superlatives to video game adaptations. So these are movies based on video games, not movies about video games. I'm pretty sure someday we will have to do a movies about video game superlatives, but we're not there yet.
Not quite. There's surprisingly quite a few video game movies.
There are a lot of video game movies, but the quality of these video game movies is quite sparse.
It's lacking. It's hardcore lacking.
So if you're new to this, we got a lot of new listeners, it seems like. So if you're new to the Movie Superlatives series, we give out once a month, we give out made-up awards to different types of movies. We connect all these movies based on, some form of connecting thread. This time it's video game adaptations. We give one award per movie and one movie per award. No tradesies, swapsies, takesy backsies, nothing like that. Repeatsies, that's the one I always miss.
Yeah, no erases.
Erases? Whew, can't erase, that'd be bad.
I'm on fire.
No triple stamp and double stamps.
You can't triple stamp and double stamp.
So, that's what we're doing today for video game movies. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see how to pull the best things out of one of the worst genres of.
It is seriously hurt. I don't think there's been legitimately a fantastic superhero movie. Superhero movie, video game movie. I'm really excited.
Sonic
about Uncharted.
Is the closest I think I can get.
Still haven't seen it. Spoiler
it's good.
Alert.
You should watch it. I will try not to spoil it when I pick it for the award I give it. The Uncharted has had a very rough production cycle. I like Tom Holland. Who did they get to play? There's like an old mentor in Uncharted, right? I think they got somebody really good in that role too.
They did, and I thought it might have been Willem Dafoe for some reason, but I don't. It's not that.
No, I would definitely be down for that. We'll talk about it when we get there. After we give out the awards, we've got some extra stuff to talk about and why video game movies are so bad. And I think Uncharted may fall into that category, into that does it really fit as a movie category. And so we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's give out some awards.
Let's do it.
So the awards from 1 to 5 we're giving out is the best video game character adaptation. That is which character best reflects its video game self. So not like best character in a movie necessarily, but the most accurate representation of what the video game character was. We got the best final boss. That's pretty self-explanatory. The best world. And so that's more or less the setting for the movie or the world that the video game is set in. Kind of like Mushroom Kingdom or, Emerald City or whatever it's called in Sonic. Hyrule for Zelda. Whatever movie did a great job of building that world is what we're looking for there. The best mission is pretty simple. What does the character have to accomplish? And how does that reflect on in-game missions? Does it feel similar to actually playing through the game? And the most game-like movie, which movie felt most like you were playing a video game in a good way.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited about this.
That's going to be the hard one.
I think
that's the hardest one to give out.
Kind of tricky. Not going to lie. These were all kind of tricky. But I had a lot of fun doing it. Let's
jump into it. I had to relook at my list of video game movies over and over and over again.
Oh, 100%.
It's maybe not.
Well, I kept finding updated lists or, things that had just expanded a little more, and it's I completely forgot about that movie. I've seen
Wikipedia
it 100
had a
times.
Solid list of video game movies that have been produced.
Have they? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Too late to tell you that now, but let's start with the best video game character adaptation. Go for it, Nick.
Ooh. This one was pretty easy to me, and it came absolutely instantly. That's Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider.
You got it.
She nailed that original
2001 Tomb Raider. Yeah.
2001, yes. The original, just Tomb Raider. Not the Tomb Raider, just Tomb
I
Raider.
thought it was Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I thought
Yeah.
that was that one.
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
But she is Lara Croft.
Oh my god, she was so good, dude. She did such a good job of bringing her, like, her, I don't know, persona of the adventurer who's rich as shit and can do, like, crazy acrobatics and is dope with a set. You know, dope with a gun. And, you know, I love the way Angelina Jolie portrayed it pretty much. And she was hot as hell. And,
Yeah,
you know,
that
back in
helps.
the day, when Tomb Raider was on PS1, everybody still thought that pixelated blob was hot as hell. I don't know why.
I mean,
I
you
didn't
got
have a PlayStation.
you got the nude code in there.
What?
You've never heard about the nude code for the original Tomb Raider?
No.
There was like a special rock you could go. It's completely false. This didn't exist. But there was supposedly, you know, somebody's cousins whose brother worked for Naughty Dog or whoever made the game. Their uncle knew a guy who knew the producer that said that this cheat code was in there. And you had to like walk up to a rock and turn like in this specific way, and then Lara Croft would be top.
It would just look like pointy pixels.
Yeah.
But I mean, you saw Angelina
they would
Jolie's side boob in Tomb Raider, and
That's true.
Maybe that was an Easter egg. Maybe they're out here ahead of Marvel, connecting all the dots.
Really good side boob though too.
It's fucking fantastic, dude.
I think one of the things that this movie had going for it is Angelina Jolie had not yet become the megastar that she would become. She was on her way. And I think this movie actually helped a little bit. But because she wasn't that megastar yet, she had fun in the role. And she captured, like you said, the spirit of Lara Croft. Not just the physical attributes, but that rich adventurer, like, I'm down for whatever. I can kick ass, take names, and, you know, go out there and get shit done.
Right, that highly intelligent puzzle solver that has a ton of cool toys. And
yeah, she just
so
oozed coolness.
Oh god, yeah.
Out of every pore. I haven't seen this movie since probably like 2003. Like I watched it in the theater and then I probably watched it again. I had the DVD, but I don't know that I watched it that many times, other than for the Angelina Jolie side boob hour.
Yeah.
You know, when you're hard up for some materials. But it still sticks in my brain as a truly tremendous video game character. And the movie's not that bad.
No,
especially when you hold it up next to some of these other video game movies that we're going to talk about. She looks the part, she acts the part, and you could feel like she would be out there raiding some tombs.
Right. She would do such a good job. I mean, Sean Bean's in that. Who else is in that?
Daniel Craig's in the second one.
Yeah, no, he's in the first one.
He's in the first one?
He's Sean Bean's, like, you know, little bitch, or whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, those two had great chemistry. I mean, it was a pretty good movie.
She was good at the stunts. You know, the physical
really
action looked really good in that movie. I think in the second one they CGI'd it up a little bit and it wasn't as good. But this movie still holds up. I might have to watch it again.
I watched it a shit ton with my little brother. We loved this movie because he was always a PlayStation guy.
Because Angelina Jolie.
What's that?
I said because Angelina Jolie.
I mean, fuck yeah, dude.
That helps.
She was stunning in that movie, and they did a very good job of sexing her up big time, but it fit with the tone of, like, the video game at the same time. She's almost like a female James Bond. That's what I always looked at her as, and she played that part really well.
More Indiana Jones, but it's Indiana Jones mixed with James Bond, because there's a little bit of that spy puzzle solve. Like, Indiana Jones wasn't a huge puzzle solver. He kind of stumbled his way into solving the puzzles a lot of the time. I'm just looking through her Angelina Jolie's IMDb, and Gone in 60 Seconds is really the only, like, huge movie she was in before this. Girl Interrupted, The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington, like, that's a good movie, but it wasn't this huge summer blockbuster. I think Tomb Raider was like, all right, she's here to be a movie star. Pay attention. And she did it.
She did it really well.
Because after that, we get things like Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, which was straight up just Hollywood popcorn movie star bait. It's not a good movie. It's flashy, it's bright, and it's there just to be a vehicle for movie stars. Mr. and Miss Smith, same thing, except a little bit better movie.
I love that movie, man. Me and my wife watch it like once a year, probably.
She's in Beowulf, which is kind of the same thing. She's in Kung Fu Panda. She's in Wanted. Like, those are all these
Fucking loved her in Wanted,
popcorn, let's make beautiful people doing fun things movies.
Right? Wanted is, that's another good example. She was a little bit older, a little bit more defined. But I don't want to.
Smaller role in Wanted, too.
Yeah.
Which was weird after kind of some of this other stuff.
The main character. But I mean, with Tomb Raider, I was just really happy to see it. And it's like, okay, finally. It feels like, if I didn't choose her for best character adaptation, it would have been best, like, game representation on screen.
Yeah. And that would be, I think that's fair to look at it that way. I just got one runner up here. I haven't seen this movie, but as I was like Googling around for some of this stuff, most of the cast of Street Fighter looks the part. I don't know how well they acted. It's apparently a terrible movie.
Yes.
But when I was just looking at pictures, like they did a good job of finding characters that look like the Street Fighter characters.
I mean, if you can cast it, and most of the time, like, I think with that video game, they modeled a lot of those characters off specific people, not necessarily those who portrayed them, but I honestly never really played Street Fighter.
Oh, there you go. I'm terrible at Street Fighter. Anytime I've tried, like, I don't get the combos in Street Fighter. I can't do it the way that Street Fighter combos work. I'm more of a Mortal Kombat guy.
I'm terrible at any fighting game except Bloody Roar.
Actually, I was really good at Tekken.
Terrible.
Which
at
is
Tekken.
like the like entry level fighter, I think.
Did you ever play Bloody Roar on PlayStation 1 or 2?
No, I played Killer Instinct.
It's
That's where you
basically
fight
that.
like dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah, you can transform into animals. It's tight.
I might have to check it out.
I still have it on PS2, actually.
What's it called? Bloody Roar?
Bloody Roar. Get Bloody Roar 2. The New Breed. I still remember that intro music.
Oh,
I'll just send you.
I think that's. It looks like almost Tekken fighting style. And character models.
You can transform into animals and.
All right, that's dope.
Get like all their attributes.
All right, I'll get that off Amazon. All right, let's move on to, since we picked the same person for that, we can move straight into the best final boss. And I go first here. Nick, just close your ears for the next like 5 minutes. It's Dr. Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog 2020.
I'm eager to listen to this because I don't know if I want to watch this.
Jim Carrey's fantastic as Robotnik.
Is he fun? Thank God, man.
He is like full Jim Carrey mode. He's off the wall hilarious, outrageous, but he's also intimidating at the same time in a way that's intimidating for Sonic. I think this is Carrey's new wheelhouse, and I'm pretty much only going to accept him in these roles from now on.
That is such good news, man. I am so happy to hear that.
And then, so he's got a great evil plan using drones, and like next to Spider-Man Far From Home, it's one of the better uses of drones as an evil plan. Just because usually in movies these days, a lot of them throw drones in there, and they're just like this nebulous threat hanging overhead, ready to strike or spy on people. They're just going to do like one blast and destroy a whole city, right? But
right.
Here and in Far From Home, they use the drones to their advantage a little bit better. I won't go too deep into that since you have.
No, go ahead.
I mean, it's fairly similar to Far From Home. He just uses drones to do his bidding all around, chase people, blast them. He's got an army of drones like in Far From Home. They're not quite augmented reality drones, but it's it's the same kind of thing where he's using this army of drones to actually do real damage.
They're like utility, basically. So is Sonic a fucking alien?
He's from an alternate dimension.
Okay. And he ran so fast he came to ours, I'm guessing.
Not really.
Okay.
The coins help him travel. So they worked the coins in a solid way, too. The coins help him travel between dimensions.
Okay. That'd be tight.
So coins are actually important, too.
Right. So if he gets damaged, he loses that ability. I like that, man. That's tight.
And yeah, so with the drones, Robotnik just gets this all-out onslaught onto Sonic. And he's got this cool egg-shaped flying machine, leading into the Eggman that he eventually turns into. And honestly, Sonic doesn't even defeat Robotnik. He needs help from James Marsden, and they send Eggman to another dimension. But Sonic was honestly on the ropes for most of the final battle here.
That's tight. That's
and
the way it
so
should
he's
be.
Still around. It'll be cool to see him come back in sequels. I also like that his plan wasn't super nefarious to begin with. He wasn't this, like, I'm going to take over the whole world, anything like that. It was, He's not enslaving all the animals like in the games. He was contracted by the government to find Sonic because Sonic caused this huge power outage. And while hunting him, he realized he could use Sonic for a potential source of energy and just kind of became obsessed with him.
Ooh, that's really interesting, man.
Yeah.
I like
And I
that.
like it's hard because it doesn't happen that often, but video game movies are better when it's this one-on-one direct rivalry between the protagonist and the villain rather than the hero tries to stop the villain taking over the world, doing this huge thing like you get in superhero movies. And it's the same thing in superhero movies. It's better. Loki versus Thor is a better matchup than the Avengers versus Ultron, where it's just Ultron is trying to take over the whole world. Like, I like that one-on-one beef that you gotta get to the bottom.
Definitely feels more personal, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I like that pick.
So now go watch Sonic after we hang up here.
I'm not gonna watch it tonight, but I might download it and watch it in the woods when I go.
You should.
Yeah, camping or something.
All right, what do you got for best villain? Best final boss.
Best final boss. You got to hear me out on this, and it's kind of a stage, stage 1, stage 2 boss.
Okay.
So best final boss, I think, without a doubt, is the Umbrella Corporation from the original Resident Evil. If we're going,
I've not seen any Resident Evil movies, and don't plan to. So just go ahead with it.
They're not good, but it was a New Year's tradition for my brother and I. I don't know how we got on it, but every year we'd eat black-eyed peas and cornbread, Southern thing, and I'm sure you have experienced that.
No.
I guess it's good luck. Eat black-eyed peas with cornbread and ketchup on New Year's, and it's good luck. So we do that and watch Resident Evil every year, and I still actually watch Resident Evil every year on New Year's. And the reason why they are the best, and it kind of goes back to what you mentioned earlier about the about Sonic being kind of on the ropes, is a lot of people would say like the liquor at the end, which I'm sure, are you familiar with the character of the liquor?
Not really. No, I didn't. I've never played any Resident Evil games. I haven't seen any of the 1,200 movies that they put out. I know what Umbrella Corporation is. I know the general gist of it, but no.
All right, so people listening will understand this at least.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. So they know what I'm talking about. The liquor is kind of almost like doggish. It's closest thing in size is like a polar bear, which is metal as fuck. See our last episode, Metal Meter. And has huge claws and a giant tongue. But they dispose of it pretty easily at the end of the movie. But then the Umbrella Corporation comes in, which is the conglomerate that kind of, they run Raccoon City. That's who's in charge of this zombie outbreak type situation, and they're nefarious and created this virus called the T-virus, which turned everyone into zombies in the first place. So they're basically behind this whole thing, and they send in a unit of people to figure out what the fuck's going on. But in the end, they come take the remaining survivors and turn one of them into Nemesis, which is that giant fucking dude with his teeth exposed. Yeah, they turn him into Nemesis, Capcom. And they take the main character, Mila Jovovich, take her away, even though she's not even a character in the games. But I just love that the final boss is kind of the originator of the entire story. And it turns out they were the bad guy the whole time and won, which, that's like the definition of a dope final boss.
Yeah, when the villains can win, there's a reason that everybody thinks Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. It's because the villains come out on top. Same with Infinity War. Infinity War is way better than Endgame because 100%. You have an ending where Thanos is on top of the world.
Yeah, he killed it, literally.
Yeah, well, half of it.
Half whole.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, that this overarching villain corporation that's running shit in the whole city is a cool wrinkle to throw in. And it's given them, they've honestly got, I said 1,200 before, but it's something like 10 movies, I want to say. And like you said, they're not great movies, but they keep making them. So obviously some people are watching these movies and enjoying them. And that probably, because the Umbrella Corporation looms overhead on all of this, I think that's what brings people back.
Well, it's really just over the top action at this point. but it's just fun. I mean, they're fun movies. They're stupid. And I remember playing the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2 with all my siblings at my grandparents' house. We had to hide that shit because my grandma would have chopped up the PlayStation and burned it for, being Satan or something or another. But, yeah, it was a ton of fun, and I remember just being absolutely terrified because I was pretty young at the time. And when I first saw Resident Evil, it was just like, oh yeah, they did such a great job with that final boss villain looming overhead type situation like you described.
All right, so here's the real question. Which is better? Or, sorry, not which is better. Which is more fun? Fast and the Furious franchise or Resident Evil franchise?
Fast and the Furious, 100%. Okay. And it's like beyond a
doubt. Now I don't need to go watch Resident Evil, so I'm good. As long as I've got Fast and the Furious in my world, I'm good.
It's fun in regards to like having a hot protagonist jump around and do fantastical shit while killing zombies with big guns. Like, that's tight. I mean, there's a market for that. Other than the
zombies, you describe Fast and the Furious.
Pretty much. But Fast and the Furious has cars.
He's hot as heck.
He is. You know what I never understood is, like, this dude is jacked beyond belief, but not cut. He always had, don't understand.
He's a bit beefy. Yeah. All right, so we asked on Twitter.
Beef Diesel.
Every week we try and put a poll out there to get some listener feedback and engagement at APA something @alone_podcast on Twitter. We asked who is the best final boss in a video game adaptation. The options were Dr. Robotnik from Sonic, King Koopa from Super Mario Bros., and M. Bison from Street Fighter. And I used M. Bison from Street Fighter instead of Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat because I could not remember who the final boss in Mortal Kombat was, but I remembered M. Bison from Street Fighter because I've never actually seen Mortal Kombat either. It's going to be a running theme.
Dude!
So Dr. Robotnik wins 37.9% of the vote. King Koopa was leading for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And ended up with 27.6% of the vote. Only 29 votes. I put the poll out a little late. Asked for some feedback a little late on it, so we didn't get as many votes as usual. And then M. Bison got 20.7% of the vote, and other with 13.8%. So Shoedog and Mike at ShoedogM on Twitter says, dude, it was Dennis F. and Hopper. He's talking about King Koopa there, which I'm good with Dennis Hopper. I just don't know that Lizard Koopa is a great villain.
Tight, yeah.
JVD of the Villains Demand at Villains Demand gives me a nice GIF of Shang Tsung that's Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it. And then On Call Pod at On Call Pod gives another vote for Shang Tsung. So I think Shang Tsung could have given Robotnik a run for his money if he was in the poll.
Most certainly.
But that gives us more engagement on the actual comments, so thank you for that. Thank you for everyone who participated. Check back next week for more at APA something @alone_podcast. We will have more polls always.
Every week, at least.
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly, unless it's a weird subject.
Like last week, Nature's Metal. I didn't know how to put that into a poll without giving away our whole thing.
Is nature fucking metal?
Yes or no? Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Yes or no, but then you get no actual engagement from it.
I don't know. I mean, if I was sitting on the toilet scrolling through, it's like, oh, it's nature metal. You better believe that. Can I do it twice? No. Okay.
And while we're on the subject of Twitter and going back in time a little bit, I just want to give myself credit for pulling the pistol shrimp out of nowhere because I did not know this before going into it. And then the pistol shrimp showing up in Netflix's latest blockbuster, Project Power, with Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm not going to go into that movie because probably a lot of people haven't seen it yet, but the pistol shrimp plays a pivotal role in that movie, and I come out of nowhere grabbing the pistol shrimp as a fucking dope ass animal in
metal.
Nature, quote unquote metal. And so shout out to me for knowing what's going on in Project Power.
Fucking shout out to me, bro. I'm the best. I'm the
exactly.
Shit. Is that show any good?
Movie? It was pretty good. Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
All right, cool. All right.
Definitely worth a watch.
Sweet.
So let's go back to the awards. Shout out to you too for giant lions.
My fucking lions were dope, man. I re-listened to that episode while I was cutting the grass, And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I don't see how Calvin doesn't see my way. This is ridiculous.
I have not heard from anyone on Twitter yet telling me that the lions from Botswana are cool because they're big.
That's not just...
So let's get back to the awards before we piss Nick off too much. What is the best world in a video game movie?
I'm so mad I can't even think about it, Calvin. Okay, no. It is Warcraft, as in 2016's Warcraft. I watched it. It's terrible. It's very bad.
It looked terrible. And I never played World of Warcraft, so I was like, this has nothing for me.
I played the shit out of World of Warcraft. I played every Warcraft game. I still actually have the Blizzard released a remastered version of Warcraft 3, and I bought that as soon as it hit the marketplace at $30 when it's a $4 game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did. I mean, it looked beautiful. It really brought to life the feel and the
What's the
fantasy.
name of that world?
Azeroth.
Azeroth. That's right.
Yeah, it's tight. I mean, I literally, my sophomore year of high school, I remember for spring break, we had 10 days off, so 2 weeks. I did not leave my house one time. I played World of Warcraft for like 14 hours a day. And that was the only time I've ever been truly addicted to a video game quite like that. But when I saw this movie, it made me feel a lot less. I mean, even though it was fucking terrible, but the costumes, the set designs, the character designs, it was a great callback to that game. And it really brought to life the world that it brought forth.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point of this, is like video game movies are bad. We've established that. But there are good things within them, and building these worlds from scratch that we've only seen on TV screens and sometimes 8-bit or 16-bit graphics. I mean, obviously World of Warcraft is beyond that at this point, but bringing those worlds to more or less life is a really cool thing for fans of video games to see.
Hell yeah, especially if it's just to see.
Right.
It's not necessarily... I'm not watching
You're
that
not
for the
exploring
content.
it, right.
It's really fun to see. And they got Travis Fimmel, who I'm a really big fan of from Vikings, or when he was on Vikings, as one of the lead characters. So it's just like, okay, I'm cool with this. Yeah, I'll watch this terrible popcorn. It reminds me of the Hobbit movies. They look really cool.
It's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean...
Except you have no connection. If you didn't play World of Warcraft, you have no connection to that. At least, I never read Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, but because I watched the Lord of the Rings movies and liked those movies, it made me want to watch the Hobbit movie. Warcraft, you have no connection like that if you never played the game.
Right.
I guess unless you liked the character from Vikings.
That's fair.
So, I went the same way. Bad movie, good setting. Silent Hill 2006.
Dude, that was such a close second for me.
I've never played Silent Hill. Again, very easily scared. This movie, the world of the movie is creepy as fuck.
It really fucking is.
The game seemed super scary. I didn't really this movie was not on my radar. One of my girlfriends was like, in college, was just like, yeah, let's watch this. It's a video game movie. You'll like it. And I'm like, I don't like horror movies, but whatever.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
So yeah, I never wanted to play the game because it seemed so scary, and that's what this movie captures so well. The movie is not scary, but it feels scary, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
The acting's bad. There's a lot of video game movie missteps in there, but the world feels scary as hell. You don't want to be in that world. Anything could jump out of any corner. Everything's there's just tension is dialed up to 11 until the characters actually start speaking or interacting with Silent Hill at all.
I mean, the score was fucking great on that too.
Yeah, the score was good on it.
Super awesome.
And like once they start trying to act against like all the weird monsters and stuff, the scariness kind of drops off because you see it as how fake it is. But It was scary to put yourself in that place and kind of be there with the actors until they started interacting with it. So like trying to picture yourself within Silent Hill, the place, was very unsettling.
Yeah, that's a fucking fantastic pick because the atmosphere there was just so Silent Hilly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very scared to play that game. I played it a couple times, and I remember watching my friends play it a lot, but it scared the shit out of me because I didn't like. Man, when stuff moves really creepy, that's what really gets me. I mean,
Yep.
it doesn't necessarily look super creepy, but the voices and the score is really what got me. That translated so well to the movie.
And I only knew Silent Hill as it was this horror game. I had never watched gameplay on it or like watched my friends play, and I knew Pyramid Head guy. That was it.
I mean, he's rad, dude.
So when my girlfriend's like, "Let's watch this movie," I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Background noise, right?
I guess.
And I just want to give a quick runner-up to Detective Pikachu, because it would be super cool to live in a world with all these Pokemon, and they did a good job of making that world look and feel realistic, that the Pokemon were actually there in that world with them. It'd also be super dangerous, and I'd hate it, but
and
cool.
I hate it.
But cool at the same time.
I mean, it'd be super cool. I feel bad, man. I'd feel bad having, like, Pokemon be my, do all my bidding and shit.
Yeah, I mean, the human-Pokemon relationship has a long way to go.
It certainly does.
The slavery of Pokemon is, that we're not here to discuss that right now.
It's not tight.
Yeah, we need some work on that. Humans in Sapphire City, is that what it's called?
I don't fucking know.
Somebody on some Pokemon superfan will let us know.
Yeah, they'll assault us with their words.
All right,
you
so
fucks!
All right, so let's move on to best mission.
Best mission.
This was a hard one because video game movies are bad, and a lot of the reason they're bad is because the writing of the missions is bad, right?
Right.
I went with Rampage from 2018.
I did not see that.
Don't waste your time.
I heard it was pretty good, though.
Whoever said that is wrong. At this point in my research, I've kind of realized two things: that I'm kind of light on the number of video game movies I've actually seen, as we've covered here, and video games are super light on doing things well. So Rampage kind of wins this by default. And I mean, that's the reason I haven't seen them. I know going in that they're bad. But so in Rampage, The Rock, he's got this animal friends. They're infected by an alien disease. They grow big and angry. Huge angry animals. Nick, this should be your favorite. No big lions, though.
God, that'll be in the sequel.
Yeah. So The Rock plays a veterinary scientist, which that's the most unrealistic part of this movie, is that somebody the size and build of The Rock is a veterinary scientist at a zoo.
No shit, man. I'd be terrified for the animals' sake. I'd be like,
Yeah.
What are you going to do to them,
And this
guy?
is a movie about giant animals destroying a city, and The Rock being a veterinary scientist. Not that he as a person is not smart enough or capable enough to do it, it's that a veterinary science would have that size and build.
I don't know. He might, for that reason. He's like, oh, fuck. I got to get Jack now. There's one of them out
train
there
this
for
fucking
sure.
gorilla, man.
Yeah, big time. He's like, I got to wrestle this dude. We might have to fight. I don't know. He might get up. He might have to smack him down.
So for his mission, for the main characters, I guess you would say are the giant animals, their mission is just fucking destroy a city. Great, I'm in. Let's do it. Which is what makes Rampage a great game. You're just this giant animal, go destroy some stuff, right? But humanitarian-wise, The Rock has to find a way to save the city and save his gorilla friend. And the villains in this are Plop from The Office and his sister, who are doing something that whatever they're doing, letting the giant animals roam free and destroy the world, is making them money. So The Rock's got to also uncover that conspiracy at the same time.
Of course. There's got to be an underlying conspiracy to the conspiracy.
Yeah, there's really a lot going on, probably too much in a movie that obviously giant animals destroy cities should be super simple, but with this movie it's not. There's 1,500 moving parts. Like we start in a scene in space where these capsules come down to infect the ant. Like it's just way too much. But if we're just focusing on what the mission of the main character is, that's The Rock, I think this is the best quest we get in one of these movies, because he's just trying to save his city and save his friend. He's legitimately trying to help rather than, finding some random artifact or win a fighting tournament.
It's almost like Planet of the Apes, but just on a whole nother level.
A little bit.
A little bit. There's monkeys. I mean, that's good enough.
There's monkeys that are smart.
I dig.
What do you have for the best mission?
This one was easy for me, and I think you mentioned it already that you're not really down with it. Actually, no, maybe not. But Mortal Kombat. Because,
I just haven't seen it.
Oh man, the first one's pretty solid. Not gonna lie, but
That's what I've heard.
The main mission is to defend Earthrealm from being taken over by Outworld, and the
Obviously.
first movie did a really good job of bringing the video game to life. Like, it felt very video game-esque. Liu Kang was perfectly cast. I enjoyed Johnny Cage. Goro was okay. Kano was pretty well cast. Like, they did a good job of bringing it to the big screen. It felt pretty intense, kind of like those matches on the arcade game itself.
Right.
It was tight.
From what I've seen of the casting, it looks solid. I'll agree with that. I haven't seen any of the Mortal Kombat movies, but I did have the Mortal Kombat Annihilation soundtrack.
It was pretty good. Just metal as fuck. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I wore that movie out as a kid. I don't know why.
Never saw it. But
so good.
Had the soundtrack.
So good.
All right, so is there anything else going on, or they just gotta save the world from invasion by fighting each other?
Basically, there's 18 realms, and so Earth Realm is where Liu Kang and Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade are at, and that's kind of our realm or its representation, and Outworld is where bad motherfuckers are at, and they're trying to take over Earthrealm for some odd reason. I'm not entirely sure.
No one ever is.
Yeah, to be 100% honest with you, but I thought the mission was tight. We got to fight in this karate, this tournament, and Mortal Kombat is a dope ass name. Most of the time they kill each other, and their souls get stolen if they don't, and that's rough, man. That's a dope mission for Liu Kang. I gotta save the world by whooping ass, by being a baller. That's tight.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Easy peasy.
I've
said that way too many. I've said that like 3 times this episode, and I'm getting pissed at myself.
All right, final award time. The most game-like movie. What do you got?
Dang. I picked Doom from 2005.
Never saw it.
Oh man,
I told you I'm light on
dude.
video game movies.
It's got the fucking Rock, Carl Urban.
It's got the Rock in it?
Yeah, dude, the Rock is in. He's like one of the main characters. He's on the cover.
I never saw it, man. I don't know.
You never walked past that movie in the movie store?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh my goodness, Calvin,
Rosamund
watch
Pike.
Doom.
Damn.
It has a really, or at least go on YouTube and look up FPS scene from Doom, and that's kind of I'm getting there.
That's my list of movies to watch. I ran out. Quarantine, I've gotten through my entire list of movies.
Throw it on. I think it might be on Netflix or Hulu.
Nice.
But it really does a good job of, like, these guys have the standard video game outfit for a military or paramilitary unit. They got the giant, super complicated guns with buttons all over them and stuff like that. That's basically a video game brought to life. The hell landscape that they're on Mars, which is, a portal to hell, and the station they're on, which is hyper scientific. The outfits, gratuitous violence. It just felt so much like a video game. And at the same time, dude, look up the FPS scene, first-person shooter scene. Like, they do a scene.
I don't want to ruin the movie now. I'm going to watch the movie.
But you have to see, even though you know it's coming, it comes at a perfect time. It's the only thing I can say negative about it is it doesn't last long enough. It's so tight. And how else do you make it, make it a game-esque feel? First person.
Even Sonic, which is a cartoony movie about a cartoony game, doesn't ever feel like a video game.
This 100% of the way does.
It's a good movie, and it's fun to watch, but it doesn't it feels detached from what the video game is. Which, okay.
Okay.
So my award, and this is rough. You just gotta stick with me here, okay? Gonna admit right out front, terrible movie. But Prince of Persia 2010.
Oh, this is one I haven't seen actually.
It's not good.
I work with this guy, and I told him what we were talking about today. He's like, "Are you gonna talk about Prince of Persia?" I'm like, "No, I've never seen it." He goes,
Oh, I've got your Prince of Persia content right here.
Let me get.
It's not a good movie, but
Okay.
It does feel most like a video game out of the ones I've seen. There is a bunch of stuff in this movie that does not work in the real world. From you got the plot, the stunts, Jake Gyllenhaal being a Middle Eastern prince, all that stuff doesn't work in the real world. But if you frame it as a video game, it starts to make sense. He's doing all these crazy jumping and acrobatics and all this. They're looking for some crazy artifact that'll open some secret tomb that goes here and then up here in the pyramids and whatnot. There's a lot of shit going on, but it's all very video game-esque.
Love it.
It's not tethered to real world physics or dynamics, which is like sometimes, like you're talking about in Doom, that's what we want. We want like if you're going to make and go in on a video game movie, make it feel like a video game, make it over the top, make it fun to be a part of.
Right, and make it over the top without having just absolutely stunningly shitty like CGI or fucking dialogue.
But Tomb Raider, we talked about Tomb Raider at the top. It's the same thing. I think Prince of Persia does really bad with CGI, which is something that the first Tomb Raider didn't lean that hard into, but it made it fun. It made Lara Croft's journey fun, which made you want to watch the movie and be a part of the movie. Prince of Persia is really bad, and the dialogue's bad, and the movie's put together poorly, but the mission is kind of fun, and you want to be there with them. I mean, I watched it when it came out 10 years ago. I haven't seen it since, but I remember that there were definitely fun parts of it. And it like I said, it leans into that video game-ness, which is great for a video game movie. And that's what a lot of things, when we do the Superlatives in a few minutes, that's what we're going to see with those movies. They forget that they're based on a video game movie, and they should be fun. And I'm looking right at you, Assassin's Creed.
They may be mentioned on my list as well. I don't know for sure.
Ugh. All right. So those are the awards. We gave out the best video game character adaptation, the best final boss, the best world, the best mission, and the most game-like movie. Do we miss any categories?
I had a couple quick ones. Like one I was thinking is best item.
Yeah, I got that, power-ups. Yeah.
Yes, I mean that could basically fit in that same category, I'd say.
What do you think about?
What?
Do you have an answer?
Not really.
No. I mean, for me, it was Sonic with his rings.
I thought that was cool. I really like Lara Croft's fucking. I know I can't pick two, but that's why.
That's fine. Well, that's why it goes in this area.
Her gun reloaders on her leg.
Oh yeah.
So tight, dude.
Well, and even her, just like the double pistols themselves, is very. It's iconic to the Lara Croft's character in the original nasty PlayStation games, and like they that's just another thing that they hit spot on with this movie.
Yeah, that reload system was super tight. I could talk about that for dozens of minutes.
All right, next week on a podcast about something, we'll have a podcast on Lara Croft's pistol reloading.
Bam. That'll be dozens of minutes long.
I mean, 4 dozen minutes. We're at 48 minutes right there. Boom.
I don't know if I could do 4 dozen.
All right. Did I miss any other categories? Because that was the only one I had was best power-ups.
Nah, I'm not gonna try to drag those up because I thought of like 7 right off the bat, and then it was like, man, I got busy doing something and completely forgot about them, and have spent the past like week trying to remember this shit.
Give me just one up. So it wasn't all for naught.
That was it.
Oh, okay.
That was the one I can remember.
Gotcha. All right, so before we get to the Superlatives, let's talk about why video games suck. Why do you think it's so hard to adapt video games into movies, and why they always suck?
I'm gonna have to drag this out a little bit, but I think it boils down to the audience. Not That's everyone fair. Enjoys video games, and especially some people don't really jive with the lore and characters behind video games. So the community that does usually really enjoy them, but it's a relatively small demographic. So studios, as in movie studios, rarely give out big bucks to appease that small demographic that would actually go out and see a movie of Resident Evil or Blood Rain. Looking at you, Blood Rain. And most good storylines don't translate to a movie because they're not necessarily personal. Like when it's
can't have a
your
side
point
mission
of
in a
view.
movie.
What's that?
You can't have a side mission in a movie.
Right, and you can't have other characters in a movie really that feel like anything. They're just kind of there without the background of the lore of a video game. Because think of like the shortest video game that's half decent. It's probably 8 to 10 hours.
Right. And you got to put that into 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, I made the same point there that the movie story, it's always going to be, and like you said, with the audience, it's such a niche group of people who are actually there for all that lore and backstory. The studios will have to then water it down to make it this big budget blockbuster that people who don't play video games will actually show up and see. To get my wife to watch an Assassin's Creed movie, you got to throw Michael Fassbender in there, and you've got to throw some things that are familiar to her from watching different movies. She has not watched Assassin's Creed, and she wouldn't, and I'm fine with that because it's terrible. But my other point is that video games by nature are engaging, and movies by nature are passive. So it's hard to create that same level of immersion into a movie that you get in a video game where you're actively controlling what's happening. Even like simple things like Mario, like you don't get to make any huge decisions, but you make him jump, you make him shoot fire. Like you do all of these things to progress yourself along. Movies, you're letting it happen to.
Every time you hear that fucking sound when he dies, it's torture.
It is.
But you don't get to hear that in a movie.
Usually they try and throw it in.
Somehow.
But yeah,
that's the only reason.
It doesn't fit. Yeah, they're just doing it as like an Easter egg, not a part of the world.
Right.
And then they also try too hard to tell a different story than what the game tells. Like the game will set out with one story, and I'm gonna keep coming back to Assassin's Creed because it's one of the worst adaptations of a video game into a movie, and just the way that they translated it. And so in a game, if it's got a great story mode and it's super interactive and immersive, the movie kind of grabs key elements like the AR machine from Assassin's Creed and that he goes back in time through it, but they don't actually tell any of the stories that are told in any of the Assassin's Creed game. They have to tell their own story, and they leave out, what tethered you to that character, what made you care for him. And like you said, I mean, they're trying to condense maybe 20 hours of gameplay into a 2-hour movie, and it's just you're gonna get this super watered down version of what it is.
Right. And you can't reproduce the suspense of being killed for the 7th time while you're trying to go in for an assassination.
I'm okay with that.
On a TV screen. Like, you just can't do it, man. That shit used to get me so hyped.
Or the solving a puzzle. Like, it's one thing to watch Michael Fassbender figure out how to get into this room, but for you to find, okay, I've got to go to that guy, steal his key, but then use that key on this door, which gets me into this other room, or I have to search this thing and then go over to where I originally was to get in that room where the actual treasure is. If that happens in a movie where Michael Fassbender's just walking back and forth, it's not entertaining at all.
Standing there like for 25, 30 seconds.
Digging through the drawers in a room trying to find a specific key. Yeah, like there's the methods of storytelling in a video game are just so far removed from what it is from a movie, and it doesn't translate.
No.
Especially the way video games are made today, which are super deep.
Super deep. They have to be if they're going to charge $60 on a $400 system.
Right.
But another thing that I think movies lack that video games usually have is some kind of internal dialogue, some kind of internal narration. Like, I played The Last of Us recently, and a lot of times you hear Joel's thoughts, or, what he's kind of thinking, or what he quietly whispers to himself.
You're the character, so you feel those feelings that the character actually has.
Right, and you can't have fucking someone narrating their shit on a movie. You'll be like, oh my god, this is so dumb. Why are you force feeding?
Stale real quick in movies.
Right, but if you have like some subtitles in the background just kind of describing their thoughts and stuff like that in a video game, it's very, very helpful. It's how it relates to a book in a sense. All
right, so last one before we get into the superlatives. If they could do it well, They're making a good movie. It's guaranteed to be good. What video game do you want to see them adapt to?
Halo, 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 1,000,000 times Halo, Halo,
Probably should have seen that coming.
Halo, Halo.
Why? And you
Why?
can't say, well, because it's my favorite game.
No, because it's a great sci-fi story.
So, but
It
don't
has.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. You were saying your thing.
Well, I was gonna say it has all the elements. It has fucking heartbreak. It has a redemption story. It has, an extinction story. It has an alien race. Giant. It's in the future. Giant guns, giant soldiers. It's tight.
So I know I said that it's guaranteed to be good, but all of the lore that goes into Halo, when that gets watered down into a Hollywood movie, you're going to be missing that. You're just going to want to go play the game and live through the game because the game tells the story much better and gives you that lore and backstory better.
Well, I think if they released a Halo movie, and this is the only way I think they could do it, it needed to be a specific level of the game, like
Right.
the library on.
You
it
have
needs
to
to
condense
feel
it.
like
Yeah.
right. It needs to be the library on Legendary, and
Mm.
it needs to be fucking intense. If people are going to see Halo, they know who Chief is. They know the deal.
Right, and you can give them a quick 3-minute origin, just for people who are coming in at a left field on this without bogging the whole first half of the movie down. Again, Assassin's Creed looking at you with, how did this guy get here? It's
Right.
not that important.
And no, I think you could literally start the movie with Chief dropping in an ODST drop pod and going from there. Like
He's a
you can
fucking
just
space marine. How much of an origin does he really need for you to feel what he is up against?
right, and that's how it was with the original Halo game. Like they didn't have all the lore behind it
Right.
necessarily at the moment. Like when I first played Halo, he was just a super soldier that could, whoop fucking alien ass. And then I read all the books and stuff like that. So I think that would be such a good movie to introduce people to.
It would be like the way they make video game movies would be, let's say they're making a Halo movie, Master Chief is your protagonist, Space Marine, right? That's the one line, what is this guy? The way they make video game movies now, it would be like if they took Aliens, which is a very heavily Space Marine influenced movie, and just stopped it halfway through and gave us Hicks's entire backstory. Like, you don't need that. You just need to know he's a Space Marine and that he's got a gun and that there's aliens attack.
And he's badass.
Right. You don't need to go into this, well, he was born on this planet and flew in over here and his first interaction with one of these things was in 1997. That all doesn't matter. And they get bogged down in all that because they're afraid that people who don't play the video games won't understand the characters. But the characters are simple. When we first buy those video games, we don't know anything about the characters either.
No, we don't. We know like clips we see in trailers and stuff and what we hear from word of mouth.
Mario, when Super Mario Brothers came out, nobody knew he was a plumber. Like, he was just a dude that jumped around.
Right, with bibs.
Right. And that's where I'm going. I would like to see a good Mario movie. I think it can be done and it can be done well. Obviously, as a kids movie, I don't think we need this gritty, realistic Mario. But
Hell
in the
no,
same
that'd
vein
be
as
awful.
Sonic, Zelda would be another one that I could
Zelda,
see.
Man.
Just huge franchise potential there. Mega Man has some cool aspects that would be fun to explore. Again, that would have to be more of a kids movie. I think you can make Zelda Lord of the Rings basically if you wanted to.
Oh, that'd be so. If you did Majora's Mask, oh my fucking god, that'd be tight.
And
Guillermo del Toro needs to direct. Oh, yo!
He's a huge fan of the show, so I'm sure he'll get right on that.
Well, I mean, so is fucking David Wallace.
Andy Buckley, yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out.
I like the idea of using older games. I think it would work better with older games that aren't super deep with story and lore. Newer games, like we talked about, they have such rich storytelling. It's hard to make a movie with a better story than that. If you take something simple like hero saves princess in a world with monsters and build out the rest, then you've got a good foundation. If you've got Mario, Princess Peach is gone, big turtle monster stole her, he's got to fight small turtle monsters and mushroom monsters to get to her. You can make a good movie from that. You don't have to bog it down and, well, like, he traveled to space one time and they're in Super Smash Bros. Like, you don't have to include all that stuff. Sometimes he plays tennis with the bad guy. None of that matters.
No,
Plumber loses his girlfriend, gotta fight some people to get to her.
that'd be like a direct-to-TV special when he,
Yeah.
gotta play a tennis match to win and win my lady.
Yeah, that's the Elseworlds solo a Star Wars story movie of the Super Mario world.
I dig.
Is Mario working his way up through the tennis circuit. And then next year we get the golf circuit.
Oh my god.
Like we talked about at the top, I think Uncharted is gonna be a tough looking movie for some of those reasons. Along, all the production issues are there too. The 4 games there, they tell such a good story that you either just have to tell the exact same story in the movie or build something different but somehow still familiar to fans. And I don't know that they can do that because they tried it with Tomb Raider 2 years ago. I mean, Uncharted is almost the same game as Tomb Raider. And Tomb Raider,
A little
this
less
movie,
gritty, kind of.
yeah, but it's
No, it's just as. I
artifact
mean,
finding. Yeah,
more guns.
and it's based on finding artifacts and saving lost worlds, those types of things. In very Indiana Jones explorer type things, and they tried to do that with Tomb Raider, and it just didn't.
It did.
This one didn't work. Assassin's Creed, coming back to it again, struggled with it. The Assassin's Creed games, they're so cool and they're rich with the exploration, and it's just super boring, as I said, to watch Michael Fassbender playing a VR game for 2 hours.
Poor Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, he didn't deserve it. I just think Mario, Zelda, you can do anything in those worlds with those early games if you're not getting steeped in the lore of those. The stories were very simple. They leave plenty of room for expansion. Like I said, you got Lord of the Rings in Hyrule. You got Iron Man in the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, if you made Mario an Iron Man movie with all these different power-ups he has from Super Mario 3, I think you could make that work.
That'd be fucking tight.
And that's why Sonic worked. The super deep lore is there in the Sonic world. It exists. It's really weird. But they just mostly ignored it and made the movie starting with bare bone premise of blue fast guy, has rings, stops evil doctor.
Stops
friend to animals.
He's a homie.
All right, so let's give out some superlatives real quick. This is the if you're new to the show, we give the opposite of the movie superlatives. At the end of the show, we give the movie sucklatives, which is the antithesis of each of the superlatives, the worst version of each thing we already talked about. So we got worst character adaptation, worst final boss, worst world, worst mission, and least game-like. I've never seen this, but I was really tempted to put Super Mario just for everything, even though I haven't seen the movie.
You haven't seen that, dude?
No, it came out in 1993. I was 6. Everyone said it was bad from 1993 through 2020. Why am I going to watch it?
Yeah, from Jump Street, and you're like, yeah, fuck all that shit, dude. I ain't playing.
It feels nothing like a Mario game. It has no redeeming qualities. The villain is weird. Who's your worst character adaptation?
My worst character adaptation is twofold. Okay. It is Max Payne from Max Payne. It is Mark Wahlberg.
Get the fuck out of here, Marky Mark.
Mona Sachs, Mila Kunis. Fucking garbage.
Max Payne is so bad.
So fucking trash.
I can't tell you a single thing that happened in Max Payne, and I like Mila Kunis. And so I was looking forward to watching her in that movie, and it is just terrible.
I fucking love Mila Kunis, man. I've been digging on her since that 70s show, and it was horribly miscast. Mark Wahlberg, horribly miscast. The mystical shit involved, he's not a good person for that type of shit.
He's not a fantasy world guy.
No, hell fucking no.
Alright, I'm glad we agree there. So, character adaptations, me and you were completely in sync here.
Pretty much,
because I picked Max Payne 2.
It was fucking garbage. Y'all, if you've never seen it, it's terrible. They are so miscast.
Watch Super Mario Brothers before you watch Max Payne.
I agree with that.
Alright, so worst final boss, I went with Super Mario Brothers here. Again, haven't seen it, but I know enough about it that it actually belongs here. Apparently not according to Twitter. But no Bowser. Instead, they bring in King Koopa, which he is a character that didn't exist as a concept in the games yet, I don't think. And he later appeared as the antagonist in Donkey Kong Country, but like a better version.
King Koopa.
So you have Dennis Hopper as King Koopa throughout most of the movie, and then he turns into weird lizard monster at the end of the movie, which looks very bad.
So bad, but so glorious.
Not gonna watch it. What did you have for worst final boss?
I had Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He was played by this white dude who was fucking garbage. He was like a WWE cut man, and I hated his guts. He did front flips super stupid and was just not good. The acting in it was so bad. I will take over this world. Ha 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 ha. And at the same time, he ends up, there's this thing called animality in Mortal Kombat Annihilation where they transform in he transforms into a fucking Hydra, and that was bullshit. And he gets killed super easy, even though he doesn't really die in the games all that much.
Brian Thompson is the actor who plays Shao Kahn.
He's terrible. Fuck that guy.
He was in The Terminator.
He got his heart ripped out.
There you go.
Suits him, bitch.
Wow. Harsh words.
You betcha.
So moving on to the worst world. What do you got, Nick?
Worst world. I got Super Mario Bros.
Okay.
Instead of this light, fun, world we get, it's a dark sci-fi adventure that is just fucking trash.
Didn't it take place actually in the sewer? Like, these were plumbers and they went into the sewer to get to the Mushroom Kingdom?
I don't remember 100%, but I remember they tried to make it too realistic and too grounded. Like, Yoshi was a little dinosaur.
Yeah, you can't do that with Mario. It's too weird.
It was so weird, and the fact that, ethnicity really shouldn't be a problem, but if these guys are playing brothers, they should probably be the same ethnicity.
They should be the same ethnicity.
Right, and they should probably not be 20 years apart and 50 pounds apart.
Yeah, every time I look at it and I see, what's his name?
John
Bob Hoskins.
Leguizamo?
Well, yeah, I know.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins, and I'm like, I know John Leguizamo is in it, and I like John Leguizamo, and so I'm like, oh yeah, he's Luigi. Maybe I'll like it. And then I look at the IMDb again, and it's like Bob Hoskins is Mario. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Sounds like booty.
And then I go back to I'm not going to watch it. So I went with Need for Speed.
Oh, never watched that either.
It's just a super generic racing movie. It's set basically in the real world. Nothing cool ever happened. And when Fast and Furious exists, this movie just never stood a chance. But shout out to Kid Cudi. I like him in pretty much anything he does.
He acted in that, or did he do the soundtrack?
No, he's in it.
Oh,
Flies a helicopter over it most of the time.
Nice.
All right, so worst mission. I'm going back to Tomb Raider 2018. I had really high hopes for this movie. I like Alicia Vikander, and I thought that they could recapture what the first two movies had going for them, which, like we talked about, is the fun, physical, enjoyable, stunt-driven puzzle solver.
Right.
But they would take that and kind of modernize it. I couldn't even tell you what the mission was in this movie. Could you?
I did not see it.
No. Don't waste your time. It had this super convoluted story, and the mission that was the backbone for, whatever the hell she was doing out there, something with her father, but she had to find this thing first, and then that thing led to another thing, and then that thing, her father was with the other people that were looking for the thing, but her father had died 20 years ago, but he wasn't dead. All that bullshit that goes into it, So just super convoluted, and those parts of it only serve to move between the action set pieces, and the action actually was pretty good. It just didn't make sense in between it, and it just didn't feel as real as Angelina Jolie and what she did. I think Vikander could have been great if she was given a little bit more to work with, but the plot was just all over the place. From what I remember.
Fuck, Tomb Raider's plot was kind of all over the place, but if they could execute it back in the day like they did and bombed like you kind of are insinuating they are, that's rough.
I want to look at something because I think I have a feeling of what the problem is with
What is the problem?
between these two movies. So Tomb Raider 2018, hour and 59 minutes long. Lara Croft Tomb Raider 2001, hour and 40 minutes long. So 20 minutes shorter of, and I can almost guarantee that 20 minutes in the 2018 version is just bullshit exposition and plot conveniences to get her from one action set piece to another. Lara Croft felt quicker, to the point. Like, we got to go to Mexico. They're just boom, they're there. Like, we don't have to do all this shit to get there.
Right. They gear up, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of movies in the last 10 years like forget. They think they have to show you every minute, because if you don't show every minute, then idiots on the internet will be like, well, it's a plot hole because Batman got out of the hole, but then how'd he get back to Gotham City and, you know, put the bat symbol on the bridge when it's just like the next day, when really like 2.5 weeks go by in that span of time. But
right.
you don't have to show every minute of that 2 weeks. A lot of movies don't get that.
No, it's fucking boring.
Yeah. A lot of movies try and show you, like, okay, it's going to take her 2 weeks to get here. We better make sure we show what happens in those 2 weeks so dumb people on the internet don't get mad about it.
We want to be deep.
Don't listen to dumb people on the internet. They're dumb.
They're dumb.
Listen to smart people on the internet, like us.
Like us.
What's your worst mission, Nick?
Worst mission is Double Dragon.
Ooh, never saw it.
It's terrible, but I also watched the shit out of this movie, and it's the worst mission for this reason. Because these teenage fucks who are super into karate, living with their poor old grandma, they're out here fighting gangs.
A lot of people were super into karate in the 90s, though.
Karate was huge, and then it was Taekwondo. But reason being is their mission is so ambiguous and so convoluted. That's what makes it so fucking shitty. They somehow achieve it, but
good job.
It makes zero sense. And the fact the Liquid Metal Terminator, what is his name? Patrick something or another. The guy with the ears. He played
Robert
T2.
Patrick.
Robert Patrick. There you go. He was the only redeeming quality of this movie. Even then, the mission to beat him out as this head gangster guy and get the Double Dragon coins or halves of the Double Dragon medallion so they can transform was just fucking dumb. If I was them, I would run 1,000,000 miles away from that city. I don't want to fucking live there. I don't want to have to turn into some shadow warrior to, you know, fight people with karate. Like, that sounds terrible. No, thank you.
I agree.
You're just like, yeah, Nick, it does sound terrible.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why we're at the Superlatives here.
I mean, you and me are the same. We don't want to fight people with karate.
No.
We just don't want to fight people.
At all.
I want to, like, not get in a fist fight because they hurt, man. That shit sucks.
What is your least game like for the final Superlative?
Least game like is House of the Dead. Because it's basically... Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's fucking terrible, but at the same time, it's hilarious. Because it's basically an island rave zombie movie, and it completely removes the thrill of the game, like fast zombies and the horror of the game, like the kind of jump scares and the soundtrack and stuff. And it just replaces it with garbage action scenes and stupid zombies that they almost have basically an homage towards the end of the movie to The Matrix, where all these people suddenly start, you know, doing Matrix-style moves, have huge guns, just blow them all away, and do crazy shit. They, you know, each one gets a little circle with the camera around them and stuff like that. It just felt more, on its base, like a copy of The Matrix than anything that would ever be put onto a video game.
That makes sense. For my least game, like, I'm going to go back to the well one more time, and a lot of this is stuff I've already said, but I'm going to hopefully, like, kind of wrap it all together here. It's Assassin's Creed.
I heard it's fucking trash. I've never seen it.
It feels nothing like playing or even watching someone play Assassin's Creed. They spent way too much time in the real world and explaining the VR tech behind it, explaining why Michael Fassbender's character is connected to these people in the past. This is a movie that it could have been done it could have done a lot more with a lot less exposition. Kind of like we talked about with some of the things before. They just need to be like, to when Michael Fassbender comes on screen and they're trying to explain things to him. It could have been as simple as, hey, have you seen The Matrix? Great. Put this headset on and you can interact with the real world, but in the past. Boom, done. That's all you need to explain the world and what's going on.
Right, and they're shoving him towards it, like,
And
just deal with
the
it.
character understands now. The audience understands what's going on. You don't have to take an hour of your movie explaining how virtual reality works, or I guess it's augmented reality or time travel, whatever the fuck it is. And I feel like they should have been more focused on him hunting down the bad guys throughout time. So each game takes place in a different time period, and you're this person in the future who is traveling back there and taking over the body of an assassin, right? And I think it could have been cool if they made Michael Fassbender kind of bounce around the different times that the games take place in, instead of trying to tether it to one time frame. Is whoever the Umbrella Corporation is of the Assassin's Creed world. I know there's like, I haven't played many of the games. I played them here and there.
Templars?
Yeah. Whoever those bad guys are, they've been there throughout time. So it should have been like all of these near misses in different time periods where he has to keep bouncing around, and then eventually you get to the end, which the end of the Assassin's Creed movie was similar to the Hydra has been S.H.I.E.L.D. the whole time reveal, and you can still do that even if he's jumping around from all these time zones, instead of, all right, let's explain the movie for an hour and then have him go back to one time period and just be there for an hour and have all these malfunctions with the VR. Like, I don't think you need that. I think you need him hunting people down and missing. And maybe the VR fails one time and that's why he misses. And maybe he just sucks at being assassin another time. You know, like, they just put...
Struggles with killing people.
Yeah.
Not really down with that.
There's all these different things that they could have done, and they just told this bland-ass guy can kind of go back in time and has to find one person in one place doing one thing. Still.
It sounds terrible.
When
they first released that they were gonna, make that movie, as soon as I saw Michael Fassbender as as the assassin in Assassin's Creed, it's like, get the fuck out of here with this garbage.
He's Magneto, man.
He can be
Magneto's
Magneto
dope.
all he fucking wants. It doesn't mean he can be in Assassin's Creed. I just don't think he has that kind of acting style.
Yeah, he's not physical or agile enough. Like, you need somebody kind of bouncing around and jumping from building to building and, like, doing shit. That might be something that Uncharted has going with Tom Holland, who's fucking Spider-Man. Like, he can do those kind of stunts. Yeah.
That'd be perfect for Uncharted. And he, kind of looks the part, kind of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, looking the part isn't that important. I mean, a lot of video game nerds get mad if it's not perfectly cast, but
right, yeah.
First of all, you can do a lot of things to make someone look more like the part, and also, that's not the important part of the game or the movie.
That's true. That is true.
Not to me, at least. When I'm playing, like one of these long-form story games, I don't really care what the main character looks like. I thought in the PS4 Spider-Man game, I thought Peter Parker looked like garbage, but it doesn't matter because the game's fun.
He did not look very good.
No, the character model is weird. Miles was even weirder. Like, he's this big buff football player. But it's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make the game any worse.
Big buff football player.
You don't recall Miles?
I thought he was like, skinny. I don't remember.
Maybe not. I gotta replay it. Do you have anything else on video game movies?
I don't, other than I need to watch more of them.
But do you really?
Yes,
they're not very good.
I need levity in my life, Calvin.
I guess. Well, they'll definitely bring you some laughs, I guess.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's all we've got. Our Patreon, it's still there for like maybe 3 more weeks. We're gonna take it down mid-September because nobody's subscribing and we haven't put new content on it in a while. So if you think Patreon is cool and want to support us, go give us money now before we shut it down, because we won't shut it down in September. We'll even start making more bonus content if people start subscribing. But seeing as how no one's subscribed, it's going to get shut down in September if no one else has subscribed. So
even if it's just one of you, we'll make bonus
content.
Yes,
absolutely. Give us money, we'll make you content. Otherwise, you have to come here for the free content that no one gives us money for.
Oh shit! Or go to TeePublic and you can get our cool merch.
Actually, yeah, do that. Buy the merch instead of subscribing to Patreon, because bonus material is hard sometimes.
Well, and at the same time, merch. I mean, that's
You
double.
get something out
You
of
get
it,
a
right.
great gift, and you get to show our name off to people.
And we get money. Triple whammy.
Money's tight.
Win, win, win.
It's a win-win-win.
The other thing I want to mention before we go is starting kind of this past weekend, but more so next weekend, a blog about something on a podcast about something.com will have launched, where I and maybe some other people, Nick, feel free. I put it on Twitter, got a lot of good feedback. We're just going to be kind of writing long form articles, essays, more things we're interested about that don't necessarily fit the podcast format. So there's going to be some content there. I'm going to be doing the NFL Can't Miss Picks there as well this year. I feel like I find a new format for Can't Miss Picks every year, because like I got to do them, but making the extra episodes was hard, and then even just doing the solo episodes was hard. So maybe writing them down, I'll be able to a little dedicated to that a little bit more.
Right, you got to find the right medium.
Exactly. So the first post, the first official post, is there's going to be like an intro post. That's already posted there. You can go look at it now. But next Saturday we'll post. It is a blog about weirdly specific TV tropes that show up in all these shows but never really seem to happen in life. So there's some good stuff there.
Sounds fucking tight.
Yeah, so check that out next week. I'll post everything on Twitter when that happens. Hopefully we get some good contributors helping out as well, because I've got a lot of ideas. I just don't know how much I can do podcast research, writing research, all of that, and get it all out in not timely, but a consistent manner.
Right. I know how that goes.
A lot of things going on, but I like the idea of writing as an additional medium. It's fun to do. It's interesting to do. Don't kill me on all my grammar or like hoity-toity writing mistakes, because I'm not a writer.
No judgment here, guy.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at APA something, at alone_podcast. All the music for Podcast About Something is provided by those cats.
You gotta stay sassy.
Stay classic.